Michelle, are you ready?
I was born ready.
She's an award-winning author, speaker, and podcast host who serves on the National Faith Advisory Council. She supported Donald J. Trump for president before it was cool, from her she shed in her beautiful backyard. This is the Michelle Moore Show.
Walking in the room, turning every eye, perfect makeup on, got her hair just right. You will never know.
We talk about some of the.
She covers it so well, but the caution in her glance might be the only way to tell. She don't look like what she's been through. You would think that she's alright, but she has a way of hiding all the hell she's had to fight. Well, her smile outshines the darkness. You'd believe her lying eyes. She don't look like what she's been through, but she's been through the fire. She's been through the fire. Freckles on her skin, lines on her face, silver in her hair, but leave her hair in place. If she lets you in, you may see a scar, but she'd never let you know just how deep they are. She don't look like what she's been through. You would think that she's alright, but she has a way of hiding all the hell she's had to fight. Well, her smile outshines the darkness. You'd believe her lying eyes. She don't look like what she's been through, but she's been through the fire, burned down to the ground, but came out like a diamond, shining in the ground. She don't look like what she's been through. You would think that she's alright, but she has a way of hiding all the hell she's had to fight. Well, her smile outshines the darkness. You believe her lying eyes. She don't look like what she's been through, but she's been through the fire. She's been through the fire. She's been through the fire. She don't look like what she's been through. If you only knew what she's been through.
Hi, everybody. So glad that you're with us today. I was seeing in the chat where some of the people were talking about how pretty it is outside. It's pretty here, too. It's pretty here, too. Flashmore and I were out burning some cardboard a little while ago and enjoying the sunlight. And so I've been grounding. It was out Sunday also by the fire pit grounding. And so I've been loving this weather. I don't like it when it's super hot. I don't know what's going on. We got some technical problems, apparently. Okay, so I'm so excited. A couple of things. Got some crazy hair. It's windy outside. So, all right. My goodness, I was just reading a comment too. Y'all, just when things just seem like you couldn't get any more crazy. I was looking at this comment that was left from our show from yesterday with Mark Taylor. And we had a viewer that left a comment. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And it was talking about how, and just as we were going live, I happened to see it. And I'm not seeing it right away, but they were talking about how their pastor's son during the whole PPP loan thing, that their pastor's son got like an $80,000 brand new car. Oh no, just wow. You just never know. You just never know. Nothing surprises me anymore. If something nefarious was going on, we don't know for sure, but just never seems to surprise me much anymore. And so, okay, so we had been talking about this yesterday with Lieutenant Mark Taylor. We've got a video for you in just a little bit. It's something that Dr. Michelle has done. She's our health-based dentist. She's been here on the show a few times. And so I told producer Ron, I said, well, let's give away some Dr. Michelle products on the show today. So we're going to give away, it's about $40. It's a kit. It's a bundle of stuff, $40 to $45, probably going to end up being about $45 in value. So you get 2 of her bamboo toothbrushes. Yes, I have extra toothbrushes and everything waiting to be given away. So I had bought these recently. So you get 2 of those, and then a floss, a clean floss, and my favorite tooth powder. It's the Cool Mint. It's the whitening and remineralizing tooth powder. So this is all that my family uses, is this right here. This is the gear. And so you get 2, let's see, so 2 toothbrushes, 1 floss, and 1 whitening tooth powder. And so we're going to give that away. If you want to enter to win, you have to be watching live. Do not email me later. You got to be watching live. We're going to give this away toward the end of the show. Okay. So if you email me later, it's already going to be gone. We have 1 winner. All right. 1 winner. And this is a nice gift. This will keep you in business for a good 3 months, right? And so you got to email me, Michelle@NashvilleMichelle.com. And you can just put like tooth or teeth or, whatever. And let's see what we got here. In fact, you know what? I've got enough for another one. So we'll give away 2 bundles. Producer Ron's like, good Lord, lady. Okay. So 2 of them. And so we'll give away 2. So we'll pick 2 winners toward the end of the show. I just love giving stuff away, making people's day. What can I say? I just love it. All right. So have you seen what happened yesterday? Producer Ron, President Trump was on Air Force One, and he was with the media, and he was just answering questions. He did a Q&A while on Air Force One en route to Washington, D.C. It's about 9 minutes. We're going to show you this, see if you saw it. So a lot of people I don't think saw it because I haven't seen many people mentioning it or talking about it. And I thought it was some very interesting stuff. I thought it was good too. He's just shooting from the hip, doing a Q&A right there. So let's take a look.
That's a lot of people. Any questions?
Yes, sir. So on Russia, have you made a final decision about what sanctions or tariffs you might impose on Russia and when that might be?
We're looking at a lot of things. We have big meetings coming up, as you know, in Saudi Arabia. That's going to include Russia. It'll be Ukraine. We'll see if we can get something done. I'd like to get something done. A lot of people died this week, as you know, in Ukraine. Not only Ukrainians, but Russians. So I think everybody wants to see it get done. We're going to make a lot of progress, I believe, this week.
Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there? Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there?
What did he do?
Well, he's attacking Ukraine.
Is he disrespecting me?
Yep.
Who are you with?
I'm Michael Burnbaum, the Washington Post.
You've lost a lot of credibility. Go ahead. What else?
President, what kind of Robert? Go ahead.
Americans who have seen their retirements accounts fall in recent day are getting very nervous about these tariff conversations.
Oh, I think the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country. It's going to make our country rich again. We have many companies, as you know, auto companies are opening up plants now. We've had 4 or 5 announced already, but many more are coming. And we're basically going to take back the money, or a lot of the money that we've given away over many decades. We've lost our jobs. We've lost our factories. We've lost 90,000 factories since the beginning of NAFTA. It's not that long ago. 90,000 factories. Think of that. And we're going to get them back. And they're coming back. And they're coming back in records. Look at what happened with the big chip company, the biggest in the world. By far the most powerful chip company in the world, from Taiwan. And they're going in with $200 billion of money, and they're going to build something that's going to give us 35-40% of the chip market in one company. No, it's going to bring it back, and I think it's going to make us bring us to a level that we've never had before.
Is there going to be a government shutdown? As many of your supporters are concerned about your supporters are attacking SCOTUS Justice, Amy Coney Barrett. You put her on the bench.
very good woman. She's very smart. And I don't know about people attacking her. I really don't know. I think she's a very good woman and she's very smart.
Is there going to be a government shutdown at the end of this week?
Could happen. I mean, the Democrats want that. They want to destroy the country. So I can't tell you, but it could happen. It shouldn't have happened, and it probably won't. I think the CR is going to get passed. We'll see, but it could happen. You never know. The Democrats are out of control. You saw that the other night during the speech when they wouldn't stand up for two of the young ladies were killed by illegal aliens, one with the cancer, the young man with the cancer, and all you want to do is stand up and applaud the man and the boy, the young boy. And nobody's ever seen anything like that. They're out of control. They've lost their minds.
Mr. President, are you alarmed by escalatory rhetoric from the Chinese response to your tariffs? And are you planning to meet with Xi Jinping about trade anytime soon?
No, they took that rhetoric back, as you know. They were very tough. And I said, whoa, what's that all about? That rhetoric was taken back. You know that, right?
My question to you is...
But if you know that, why would you ask that question?
Are you planning to meet with Xi Jinping anytime soon?
Yeah, at some point I will. I have a very good relationship with President Xi. Very good. And at some point I'll be meeting with him.
Sir, do you think there's going to be a deal on TikTok soon?
There could be. We're dealing with 4 different groups. And a lot of people want it, and it's up to me. So there could be.
Who are you leaning towards?
All 4 are good.
Mr. President, you have said there's no feud between your cabinet members and Elon Musk. You
Yeah.
even had dinner with him last night, Secretary Rubio. However, tensions are high between your cabinet and Mr. Musk. How are you going to simmer down tensions? Does Mr. Musk need to back off?
Well, I don't think the tensions are high. Look, Elon's a very special person, and these cabinet people are special people. These are very successful people, or they wouldn't have gotten, they've attained the highest heights of government. And I think they have a fantastic relationship to Elon. And Doge has been incredible. Hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud and abuse has been already found. And that doesn't mean they don't have a little bit of an argument here and there about something, or maybe personnel arguments. There's not too many contract arguments. Contracts have been found. This is much more than just personnel. And we found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraudulent contracts, or very wasteful. But I think fraud. I think it's fraud.
There was just another plane crash.
And I think really the cabinet, for the most part, I think they get along really well with Elon.
There was just another plane crash in Pennsylvania today. Secretary Duffy's big concern is his department is being gutted. He's been, dealing with these crashes ever since he was sworn in. Does he have a legitimate concern?
Well, that has nothing to do with the department. That was a small plane, and that would have happened whether you had a big department or a small department, as you understand. It's just they have space like this. They have times when things happen a little bit more often than normal, and then it goes back and you go many years without having a problem. I'll tell you, I think the Southwest pilot did a fantastic job last week when he lifted that plane off the air, because if he put the brakes on, that wouldn't have been good. And I think the license should be maybe revoked for the plane that got in away from the pilot, revoked for the plane that got in its way. But the way he immediately stepped in the gas and lifted up, as opposed to thinking for about 3 seconds when it would have been too late. The Southwest pilot or pilots they did a great job.
Russia, China, and Iran are doing military exercises together. Does that concern you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Why not?
Because we're stronger than all of them. We have more power than all of them. I rebuilt the military. Unfortunately, Biden did nothing with it, but I rebuilt the military. But we don't want to even talk about that. I think if you look at what's happening, and if you see what we've done, and if you see where we've come, and let's see what happens with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I think you're going to have eventually, and maybe not in the distant future, you're going to have some pretty good results coming out of Saudi Arabia this week.
Are you going to resume aid to Ukraine if they sign the minerals deal?
Well, I think they will sign the minerals deal, but I want them to want peace. Right
How do
now,
they show that? How do they show they want peace?
Well, right now they haven't shown it to the extent that they should. I think right now they haven't, but I think they will be, and I think it's going to become evident over the next 2 or 3 days. I think eventually, look, we have to have peace. And I'm doing this. Money is one thing. We're going to lose. We spent $350 billion on this, but the big thing, human life. Thousands of people this week. Thousands of young soldiers died this week. Hundreds of people died in cities in Ukraine. And we got to get it stopped. It would have never happened if I was president, and it didn't happen. This was not going to happen. By the way, October 7th wouldn't have happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. The Afghanistan, the way not that they left, but the way that they left, it looks so bad. Probably the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. That wouldn't have happened. A lot of things wouldn't have happened, but it is what it is. I think we're going to have a good time. I think we're going to have a good result in Saudi Arabia, meaning they're hosting the various talks. And we have a lot of good people going out there. And I think Ukraine's going to do well. And I think Russia's going to do well. I think some very big things could happen this week. I hope so. So 2,000 people, at least 2,000 young soldiers have died this week. And this is almost on a constant basis, a couple of thousand soldiers a week. It's a killing field, and we got to stop it. And if I can stop it, I'll be very happy.
Would you consider lifting the intel pause on Ukraine? What does Ukraine have?
Well, we just about have. I mean, we really just about have. And we want to do anything we can to get Ukraine to be serious about getting something done. I say they don't have the cards. Nobody really has the cards. Russia doesn't have the cards. They don't have. What you have to do is you have to make a deal. And you have to stop the killing. It's a senseless war. And we're going to get it stopped.
You hesitated with Maria Bartiromo.
Where are we? Are we just about?
We're close.
We're just about ready to land.
Are you worried about a recession? Maria Bartiromo asked you, and you kind of hesitated.
I'll tell you what. Of course you hesitate. Who knows? All I know is this: we're going to take in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we're going to become so rich, you're not going to know where to spend all that money. I'm telling you, you just watch. We're going to have jobs. We're going to have open factories. It's going to be great, and the plane is landing. And thank you for a lot of good questions, okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
I love it. All right. So a couple of things. I love how much he was talking about. We got to have peace. There at the end, he's talking about the tariffs. He's saying we're going to have so much money, you're not going to know what to do with it. Well, what I'd like to do is start with no taxes. Let's do away with the IRS. Or at least have a section of the IRS that takes in those tariffs and spends the money. How about that? And that's pretty much it. And so hopefully we're going to see that happen. I hope that that's why he's kind of hinting to that. So we'll see what happens. Kazadu 77 says, amen, President Trump, our peacetime president. Yes, I like how much he's talking about peace. So we'll see. He's saying, hey, we got to make a deal. We got to make a deal. I love it also when he's calling out, these people like, oh, you already ruined your credibility. And just calling people out and just saying, hey, look, you already knew that. Why are you asking that question? Not really playing the game. And so I like that as well. Those were some of the things that stood out to me. I went on ahead and picked the 2 Dr. Michelle bundle winners. And so recapping, we're giving away 2 of the bamboo toothbrushes, 1 of the flosses, and then 1 of the whitening and remineralizing tooth powders in the cool mint. So we will be shipping those out tomorrow morning. What I did something a little bit different than I don't normally do. I said, okay, I'm just going to pick the first 2 that come through. And the first one was Lisa Julian, and the second one was Jill Hawk. So the boxes, the labels are already put together, and we'll be shipping those out tomorrow. I did that while I was listening to today's video with Donald Trump that we just listened to. So congratulations, Lisa and Jill. They are running a sale also, by the way. And we do have a code. So if you go to Living Well with Dr. Michelle, the link is in the show description. You can put in, when you go to checkout, Michelle M, all one together, Michelle M, and see how much that gets you off. They're doing like a 20% off everything sale as well. So I think that'll be fantastic. So don't forget to use the coupon code Michelle M to see about hopefully even better. I don't know what they'll do with the 20% off sale too. So try that coupon code in addition to what they're doing and see if that helps you some. So livingwellwithdrmichelle.com. Or, of course, you can always go to the show description. Dr. Michelle has done an excellent video that we're getting ready to show you. Have you heard about remineralization? And so, but this is so good because she gets to talking in this video about gut health and a number of things. It's not a documentary. It's like an educational video, but it's too short for it to be its own thing. So it's about 12, 13 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and show that to you as well. Love Dr. Michelle and her products. Let's see.
I hear a lot of debate online about, can you regrow teeth? Well, I'm here as a dentist to say yes. However, we're going to change the word. We're not going to use regrow. We're going to talk about remineralization. So let's just define this. What is remineralization? It's the minerals in your teeth and using them to be able to prevent tooth decay, prevent dental disease, all of the above. So let's talk about how a tooth is really made. There are 3 main layers in the tooth. There is the enamel on the outside. That's the part you're seeing when you look at a smile. The next layer in is called dentin, and then the inside layer is where the nerves and the blood vessels live, and it's called the pulp. The enamel has a lot of minerals in it. That's what makes it strong. That's also what makes it white. The minerals that are inside that enamel, the main mineral complex, or basically group of minerals together, is called hydroxyapatite. Interestingly enough, that's the same mineral group that makes up our bones as well. So the minerals that are in teeth are also in bones. So a lot of the things that I'm going to share today are going to apply to bone strength and bone health and bone remineralization. We're just going to focus it on teeth because I'm a dentist. So that enamel layer has a lot of minerals in it. The next layer in, or the dentin, has a lot more collagen in it. And it actually has a lot of something called dentinal tubules, or little tiny tubes. I like to think of them as superhighways that go out through the whole tooth. So the enamel has a lot more minerals than the other layers of the tooth. That's going to be important when we talk about which things can actually remineralize. There's 2 ways that teeth lose minerals. The first is through acid. Now, one of my favorite experiments is you can put a tooth in a cup of Coke. You can pour Coke on the terminals on your battery. What does that acid do? It actually eats away a lot of things, eats away minerals. So when you put acid on your tooth, it actually will eat away the minerals in your tooth, or a better word is dissolve. It's going to dissolve the minerals out of your tooth and pull it off of your tooth. So where does acid come from? The goods on your teeth. It can come from your diet. If you're drinking a lot of soda all day long, if you're drinking even a lot of lemon water or energy drinks or even Crystal Light, all of these things are very, very acidic. So if you're bathing your teeth in acid all day long, it is going to pull minerals or dissolve minerals from your tooth and take it out of the tooth. What happens to the tooth when that happens? Well, it actually becomes very porous. It's a crystalline structure, so it looks a little like this, but the minerals that are inside of this are pulled out and they leave a lot of holes. That's going to be a problem. We're going to get to that in a minute. That's the first way that minerals can be pulled out, is through acids. Acids from your food, but also acids from bacteria. So when bacteria eat sugar, they actually excrete acid. So the more sugar you eat, the more food for the bacteria, the more acid they're going to create. And that's honestly how a cavity forms. Sugar doesn't create a cavity. Sugar that's eaten by bacteria then turns into the acid, which creates the cavity. So acid from either bacteria or your diet are the first way that you can lose minerals in your teeth. The second way is lesser known, and it is if your body needs minerals for other functions. Now, what are those functions? Well, let's say you broke a bone and you need to grow that bone. Let's say you are expecting or nursing a baby and you need to grow their bones. Let's say you're a teenager, you're a 14-year-old boy, and you are growing bones. All of these things are really apparent reasons why you would need minerals elsewhere. But your brain and your heart run on minerals. And if you're not getting enough, either because you're not eating enough minerals or because your gut actually isn't absorbing minerals properly, which is the bigger problem, then your body is hungry for minerals. It's deficient. It doesn't have enough to run even your heart and your brain. And if it's deficient, it has to go searching for its own minerals because you're not providing it what it needs. So where does it find it? In the mineral banks in the body, which are your teeth and your bones. So your teeth and your bones will become more porous and less mineral dense if your body is starving for minerals. It will pull it from them to take care of the rest of you. And I see this all the time. So what do? You make sure you're eating a diet high in minerals, but you also make sure your gut is absorbing them properly. I've got a lot of information on gut health. Go check that out if you think this may be your situation. So this is how the cavity begins, is that minerals are pulled out, a hole is created, and bacteria crawl in there. Then the bacteria are harder to clean. You can't brush once it's inside of there. They eat sugar, they excrete acid, they dissolve more minerals, and the hole gets bigger and they crawl in deeper. So this is what happens. In the past, what's gone on is the idea of let's add something to make this harder so the acid can't dissolve the minerals as easy. That's what fluoride does. It makes a harder, more brittle crystal than the hydroxyapatite. So it's a little harder for it to dissolve, and it does strengthen the tooth. Well, it worked kind of, but nobody ever really talked about what's causing the problem to begin with. The acid, not absorbing acid, and the idea of putting something back that never really came out is the bigger issue. So the great news is today we can actually add minerals back to the tooth that were lost. That's what remineralization is. It's just simply putting back what was lost. If the acid pulls it out, let's put it back. So thankfully, we have hydroxyapatite products now. I have a hydroxyapatite tooth powder because I want you to be able to remineralize. I also have a mouthwash that has hydroxyapatite in it. It's the only one that I actually know of. Why? Because when you're brushing, sometimes you miss places. When you're swishing a rinse, it'll get into nooks and crannies that you can't always get into with your toothbrush. So these are great ways to remineralize, but there's some other ways you can do it too. Work on gut health. Let's get that gut functioning properly so the minerals you're eating or taking as supplements actually get where they're supposed to go. Decrease the acid on your teeth. So if you're drinking a whole bunch of acidic beverages all day long, stop. Don't do it. Swig it, get it gone, rinse with water. Find something else that you can drink that doesn't have the same acid content. You can look online at how acidic things are. Go with something that's less acidic. Take a break. Give your saliva a chance to actually get your mouth back to neutral again, to balance again before you take another sip or drink another something or eat another something that's acidic. So just think about how can you decrease the acid in your mouth. Make sure you're cleaning really well, because remember, the bacteria that sit on the teeth are the ones that eat the sugar and then excrete the acid. Well, if the bacteria don't sit there very long, they actually can't do much destruction. Make sure you're really, really cleaning the teeth very well. I have some products that really work well to do that. Obviously, the tooth powder is phenomenal at cleaning off bacteria as well. So these are things to do to prevent demineralization, but also to remineralize. When can you do this? Remember, we're back to when we learned about enamel and dentin. If you have a cavity already through the enamel and into that dentin layer, it's going to be more difficult to remineralize, because once the bacteria are into that superhighway of tubes, they're spreading rapidly and quickly through the tooth. And the problem then is less that the minerals are gone and more that the bacteria is spreading. So typically we say if a cavity is still in the enamel layer of the tooth, it can be remineralized. And I have story after story after story of patients that have had this exact experience. So they send this to me on social media all the time. They'll say, I went to my dentist the last time and they told me I had 3 cavities, that they were small enough that they wanted to keep an eye on them, but then they would check them next time. They say, I went back the next time, they couldn't even find the spots that were there before. We hear this so much. It's possible. So let's say you have a cavity that's deeper into the tooth, into that dentin layer, starting to feel a little sensitive. That isn't going to be able to remineralize nearly as well as one that's still in the enamel layer. If you have a broken tooth, there's just a chunk missing, this is not going to help you regrow tooth structure. So I want to clarify this. This is not regrowing teeth. This is remineralizing teeth. Remember, there's those structures, those crystalline structures. We're plugging minerals back in. We're not just growing the minerals. Unfortunately, we've not figured out a way to do that yet. We're working on it, but not yet. So we're not going to regrow a tooth. We're going to remineralize the enamel portion of the tooth. And we're going to prevent tooth decay by keeping it mineralized. That's even the more important piece. I'll always remember a cute girl. She was a nanny for me for a couple of years for my kids. And she said, I just have had horrible dental experiences. She was always so nervous to come, even though she knew me quite well. And she said, every time I go to the dentist, I have a cavity. And I hear this over and over with people. Every time I go to the dentist, I have a cavity. You don't have to be this person. I promise you there are ways. So I told her, these are the things we're going to do. We're going to put more minerals into your teeth. We're going to decrease the acid. We're going to teach you how to keep it off of your teeth. And you are going to actually start eating some things that will help your teeth. And I'm going to get to that next. She's like, I just don't think it's possible. I remember the first time she came in for a hygiene visit. So she came in for an exam and a cleaning. And I told her, you don't have any cavities. She started to cry. She said, that is the first time I've heard that in my entire life. You told me it was possible. I didn't believe you. I'm so glad that you have these answers for people. This is your answer too. You can prevent tooth decay. So what can you do from a diet perspective for teeth health? This goes back to Dr. Weston Price in the 1930s. He actually studied what made stronger teeth. And what he found was fat-soluble vitamins. What are they? Vitamin A, D, E, and K. And he didn't know exactly what was happening, exactly the mechanism of what those fat-soluble vitamins were doing for the teeth, but now we do. What we know is vitamin D grabs calcium and other minerals out of your saliva and out of your body and basically takes it out of circulation. So it takes it off the market. Now it's going to be used for something. Vitamin K2, not K1, they're different. Vitamin K2 then tells that where to put the mineral. So it actually puts it into the cell. So you could be eating a ton of mineral-dense foods, mineral-rich foods, but if you don't have those two vitamins, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2, they're going to circulate and they're going to end up places you don't want them, like tartar on your teeth, stones in your gallbladder and your kidney and your tonsils, hardening in your arteries. You don't want them going there. So you want to make sure you've got enough D3 and K2 to direct the minerals to go where they should, which is into your teeth and into your bones. That's really essential. So look up which foods have these vitamins. It's a little tricky if you're vegan, honestly, because these vitamins come in fats, which are found in animal products largely. There are fats in things like seeds and nuts. They have vitamin E, which isn't as crucial for tooth health. So a lot of the foods that contain vitamin D3 and K2 are animal products. My favorite one for K2, which is honestly one of the most difficult to get, is grass-fed butter. Basically, butter from grass-fed cows. It has to be grass-fed because that's where they're getting the K2. So if the cows just eat grain, you're not going to have levels of K2 in that butter. That's one of my favorite sources. It also is in salmon and other fatty fishes like that. You're going to find D3. So look that up. Where do I find D3 and K2? Incredibly important for tooth health. Now, what are the signs that this is actually working? How do you know it's doing its job? Well, you're going to notice a decrease in sensitivity. You're going to notice that your teeth actually look a little whiter because there's going to be more minerals there. You're going to notice that you don't get tooth decay when you go to the dentist. These are things that you can tell at home. Why would it maybe not work? Again, if there's too much tooth structure gone, if the cavity is already too deep in the tooth, or if your gut isn't getting enough minerals in and you're still stealing it from your teeth. So gut health has to go along with remineralization. Hopefully this gives you a really good idea of how this works, that it is possible, that you never have to have another cavity again, and that small cavities you can remineralize. And I'm always so excited to share this with patients. There are ways to make it so that you never have to have tooth decay, ever. If you want more information, we have a free remineralization guide. Check it out. This is the kind of information that I want shared, so please share this with everyone and anyone that would benefit from knowing that you can prevent tooth decay, you can heal teeth, you can remineralize them and bones, and be healthy for life with just a few little changes.
I love it. Okay, so a couple of things. The first thing is, Producer Ron, I want you to add this video to the what do we call it? The playlist on truthtalkamerica.com, the Michelle Moore Show page. We have some playlists on that page. So if you go to truthtalkamerica.com, you'll see my playlist for Godly Granny. We've got Jack and Margie Flynn. We've got a playlist for Dr. Michelle because she's been on the show a few times. That playlist also includes Root Cause, the documentary. Okay, so a few things. So I wanted to share, great video, by the way, right? Her products are amazing. I saw Taco Ride's comment in the chat on Rumble where she was talking about how today she got her auto reoccurring Cool Mint and charcoal floss in the mail today, as a matter of fact. Great timing. Look how white my teeth are. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what I do when it comes to my teeth. So as you know, what I gave out today is exactly what I've been using, gosh, for a year. I love the Cool Mint. And of course, it's the whitening and the remineralizing. So it does both. But here's something else I do. I also oil pull. Now, many of you, the Michelle Moore Show keeps growing. So many of you may not be familiar with this. This has been around, oil pulling's been around for centuries, really. And it's not something that, well, it's something that I've spoken about numerous times, just hadn't done it lately. And so I want to talk a little bit about this. So oil pulling is where you put some coconut oil. There are a couple of other oils you can use, but this is what has really helped my teeth with whitening. Okay. So I see, just when I thought my teeth couldn't get any whiter, I started oil pulling and I saw a remarkable difference. In fact, my kids and my husband even said something about, gosh, it seems like your teeth are even whiter. And of course, I have some good looking teeth, I think. And so, and my husband always says that too. And so my teeth are already white, but this took it to a whole nother level, believe it or not. Now, when you oil pull, they say you should oil pull for about 15 minutes, and you should do this about 3 times a week. So I don't, because I always say for me to not be talking or doing something for 15 minutes like that is very difficult for me. So what I'll do is I will oil pull most mornings, 5 to 7 mornings. I mean, there are times where I will go for weeks at a time and have oil pulled every single morning. I like the way it helps my teeth feel. I don't know. I just like it. So here's what I do. Okay. So I do about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes every morning, pretty much. And what I'll do is I kind of scoop out, make sure my hands are clean. Coconut oil is a little bit tougher. It's not a liquidy kind of substance when it's room temperature. So I will scoop it out and then I will put it in my mouth. Of course, as soon as you put it in your mouth, it starts to melt. It will melt and be more like a liquidy oil, be liquefied. And so you're supposed to swish it. And you swish it through your teeth, through your front teeth, all that. And then I will even, when I go to spit it out, I spit it out in the trash can because, again, it's not going to be good for your pipes, your plumbing, if you spit this out in the sink. So you don't want to do that. You want to spit it out in your trash can, okay? And then I take my toothbrush, the same bamboo toothbrush that we just gave away a couple of for each of the packages. That's what I use. And so I brush my teeth real good. And then I spit it out in the trash can again. I've already warmed up my toothbrush. I like to use warm water. And so I'll rinse my toothbrush and all that just real good with hot water. And then I'll just kind of, make sure it gets between the teeth and all that kind of stuff and brush my tongue, the whole thing, spit that out into the trash can. And then I will put tooth powder and on my toothbrush and I'll have to rinse it again and then let that sit. Now, when you do your tooth powder, you're not supposed to rinse. So that's the big deal. A lot of people don't necessarily realize that. So you brush your teeth with the tooth powder and then you leave it on. I rinse the toothbrush and then I put it away after I've dried it a little bit with my hand towel. And then I'm done with my teeth for the day. So just wanted to make sure that you knew, or not for the day, but for the morning. So that is what I do. Now, you can do a couple of times a week with the oil pulling and do the 12 to 15 minutes if you want to, just whatever works for you, whatever you'll do. For me, it just works better for me as a habit every day, kind of when I'm putting my makeup on and all of that. I'm also doing the oil pulling. Now, I use organic, unrefined, cold press, non-GMO USDA coconut oil. It's virgin coconut oil, meaning the first press. Virgin oil is usually meaning the first press. And so don't know that I really knew that until I started doing Godly Granny and I learned all different kinds of stuff. So I was like, oh, that's why it says virgin. So it's the first press of any oil. It's not just olive oil. It can be coconut oil or any other oils as well. So there you go. That's the one I use. I happen to get mine at Publix and I usually get the Green Wise, which is Publix brand. And so just wanted to go through that with you. When you watch Root Cause, and you learn about the meridian points and all that stuff, it makes sense because oil pulling is supposed to be detoxing organs throughout your whole body. If you're going, Michelle, I don't even know what you're talking about, meridian points, watch the documentary. Go to the truthtalkamerica.com, and then you scroll down and you click on the Michelle Moore Show. Okay, there's a button. And you click on that, and then you scroll down, and you're going to see the playlist. And there's going to be a Dr. Michelle playlist, and on there includes the root cause documentary. And so I am telling you, it is worth the hour that it takes to watch that documentary to learn and pay attention, because it's going to talk about in there the meridian points and all that stuff. And when you listen to it and you then know about oil pulling, it all works together and suddenly makes so much sense. And of course, is everything that we've never been taught. I saw also in the chat, I think it was Kazadu, who was talking about her dentist still believing in fluoride. Well, okay. So that's where what you could do is send a number of educational videos and documentaries to your dentist. So we have them. Of course, we got you covered. There are some incredible shows about fluoride, that educational videos and documentaries that if somebody watches at least 2 of them, even, or 3 of them, one of the best ones I ever saw was about 22 minutes. We ran it last year. I'm sure producer Ron knows the name of it. These videos, if you watch this stuff and you still believe in fluoride, like, you should sue your brain for non-support at some point. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying. And so anyways, but if your dentist is still doing that, I would recommend that maybe you offer to send a couple of very important videos and say, hey, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. And, this is what I'm seeing, and see what they say. Geez. I mean, what do you think? So, okay. So we were talking about the taxes and everything from the Donald Trump video, and Taco Ride said car tags too. A friend paid over $1,000 because they have a camper, a motorhome, just for tags. It's insane, girl. And so Fly Girl 61 said, hello, everyone. I've been using the tooth powder for a few months, talking about Dr. Michelle's tooth powder. It's really helped with a problem tooth. I love the copper tongue scraper too. There you go. My son had a very sensitive tooth. We talked about that. He was doing the tooth powder that was for sensitive teeth specifically. I asked him recently if that has helped him, and he said, oh, yes. So I quit hearing him talk about his tooth. And so I thought maybe it had helped, but I wanted to make sure. And he said, oh, yes, it has helped a bunch for him. So that's fantastic. Also, the video that you just watched that was with Dr. Michelle, this educational video about the remineralization, that video standalone has already been put on the Michelle Moore Show Rumble channel for you to be able to share on your social media or friends and family, whatever. And you want to just share that and not this whole show. Like many of you will ask for it. And so producer Ron already got you covered. So, all right. So wanted to let you know about that as well. Okay. Just when you think you've heard it all about the ways that they've tried to get us. You got ticks, you got all kinds of stuff that they have, and I've heard some stuff about mosquitoes. Take a listen to weaponizing ticks in this interview. It's amazing. Let's take a look.
Walk away and get on with my life. But then 2 things happened within the space of a month, and I said, I can't let this story go. I just have to know what is really going on with this disease. And one was I met a CIA Black Ops guy who said in 1962, the weirdest thing he'd ever done in his whole crazy apocalypse now career was dropping poison ticks on Cuban sugarcane workers. That was Operation Mongoose. So that was the first evidence that we had dropped ticks on a foreign country as a bioweapon. And then the other thing is one of my filmmaker friends went out to Willy Dorfer, and in a very long interview, at the very end, he said, yeah, when I investigated the Lyme disease sickness in the late 70s, early 80s, there was another organism there. It wasn't just Lyme that was making people sick. It was, and I was told to cover it up. It was probably a rickettsia. He didn't release all the information, but what he said was confirmed by copies of his lab books and subsequent interviews that I had with him.
Pardon my ignorance. What is the disease you described? The other one, rickettsia?
So it's a rickettsia. It is the same organism that causes Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and that's the most deadly tick-borne disease in the United States. It also was a germ that was being weaponized by the U.S. military at the time. And and they tried to stuff it in ticks. I mean, so what is tick weaponization? So in the interviews with Willie, what he said was, I spent over a decade in the biological weapons program, a contractor to Fort Detrick, working on weaponizing fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes, trying to mass produce them, stuffing fleas with the plague, stuffing mosquitoes with deadly Trinidad virus, and then stuffing ticks with either deadly or incapacitating diseases like relapsing fever, Venezuelan equine encephalitis, rabies, leptospirosis, which is another spirochete. So it's just like Dr. Strangelove trying to make new diseases, mixing bacteria and virus in ticks with the intent of, this is the perfect stealth weapon. It's poor man's nuke. You drop these insects on an enemy. It weakens the population. It ties up the medical resources, but doesn't destroy infrastructure like a nuclear bomb would. And in one report from a bean counter in the military, they said, tularemia, which is tick-borne tularemia, also rabbit fever, we can kill 10,000 people at $1.33 a life. So anyways, it was just, there was more to tick-borne diseases than we realized, and I began suspecting that Willie was right, given this context.
Oh my! So they got it down to $1.33. It's just crazy. Okay, oh my goodness! Just when you think you've heard it all. Just when you think you've heard it all. Okay, so the evil that just really goes throughout the country and the world, it's just amazing. It really is, just the devil's playground in so many ways, Satan's playground. All right, so I wanted to say, I saw a video, and this is really a take from Bill Cooper's longer interview, if you're familiar with him. So his name is William Cooper, but he goes by, or went by, Bill Cooper, or is referred to as Bill Cooper. Many longtime Awakees would know who I'm referring to. But I saw this and I thought, I want to share it because so many times we hear things, but then I've heard him talk about it in his interview here, and I totally forgot about this. So I want to show you the video clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Let's take a look at Bill Cooper. Well, I said, let's take a look. Okay, producer Ron didn't grab that. All right, so we'll go on. So let's talk about a little boy who was healed from his autism. Let's take a look at what his mama did.
Went pretty well for the first year, and then my son became very, very sick. He stopped making eye contact. He stopped doing all the normal things that you would expect a child to do. And then eventually he just ended up lying on the floor, rolling a car back and forth. We were told through a diagnosis, your son has autism. He won't recognise you. You need to set yourself up for a life of looking after your son. We embarked on research after testing, found out that my son's brain was starving. He had all these things growing in his gut. They were releasing so many toxins that they were actually affecting his brain so much that he just couldn't work. We changed our filters in our house. Everything's chlorine-free. We got a filter from Switzerland that cost us $4,000 to get rid of everything in the air. We did everything you could imagine. And the big thing that we did was that we started getting MooView milk, normal pasteurised milk, because we were told this kefir's going to change your son's life. And we started to drink it, and we all got horribly sick and thought, this was going to change our lives, what happened? And then we did more reading, and we worked out that, why don't we try this raw milk? So we tried raw milk, and I think the bacteria that is surviving in the raw milk, the kefir just loves it, and it grows and it grows and it grows. So my son drinks a litre of kefir a day, a litre of this stuff a day. He started school 4 weeks ago. In a normal school, he
All right, that's so awesome. Interesting. Raw milk. All right, so I came across this account last night, or maybe it was the day before, and I thought this was interesting. So, we've been talking about how many people are living in their car, living in tents, even just around North Carolina, right? Excuse me. So it's interesting because as the economy has been doing like it is, we know that many people are suffering. I've talked about this. I've talked about just the communication with many of you, hearing about veterans that are living in their car or homeless. We all have heard a lot of these different stories, widows, widowers, all of it. And so there's just so much. But then also because of the bad economy that we've been having, and of course, you know, I mean, gosh, the price of eggs, it's always something, right? And so one of my sons and I were actually talking about that this morning, even about when I was, you know, his age, I could get rent paid for $400. A 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment now for somebody like even just my son, we were talking about, well, what does that look like? You know, if it's $1,200. But if it's $1,200, is that really surviving? Because he was saying, well, I could make that happen. And I was like, yeah, but are you saving? You have a car that's paid for, but what about when the car needs to be repaired? Are you able to save? Are you able to have health care? Are you able that if something happens and you get sick, you can go to the doctor? What about, you know, whatever other things you need to do? And so we were talking about that. And I said, because otherwise, if you're not able to do that as well, then you're not really making it happen. And so it was a very interesting conversation. But those kinds of things with the economy is also leading, I think, to a lot of homelessness that is throughout the country. And this one grabbed my attention. So there's a gentleman named Kevin V. Dahlgren. And so he describes himself as a boots on the ground independent journalist. Okay. And so he ends up coming across comes across twin autistic children in a homeless camp that's surrounded by active drug users. They have trash and uncapped hypodermic needles on the ground. He and another lady that he was with at the time stumbled upon the first child. Now, what you're going to see is this beginning part is the child is actually eating tree bark. And the child tells this man, Kevin, who's the independent journalist, that in the beginning of the video, he's telling him that it's harmless, but that he's also hungry. So let's take a look at this video and see what you think.
Well, I don't know if you should eat it. I wouldn't eat it.
It's just garbage.
Yeah, it's not healthy though. That is unhealthy. Thank you. Pizza.
Pizza, pizza, pizza.
There's actually 2 in each one, so maybe you give one to your mom and dad. Bye-bye.
You had a girlfriend with you? Yeah, she was out too.
Now, a lot going on there. And so it's just very hard to watch. But the point is that there is a lot of homelessness or children that are kind of wrapped up in that as well. And so just so much. So the independent journalist and the lady that he was with, they went and got pizza. You hear him saying that. The boy was also smashing charcoal and eating that as well. You could see it on his face. And so he was eating bark and charcoal. I mean, it's just wow, a lot to take in. So, but I wanted to share that with you just because that's kind of, I've always wondered, like when you see people that are homeless, what are they eating? What's going on? And when you see that the children, that's what really grabbed me. And I thought I would want to share that with you. All right, producer Ron's got the Bill Cooper video ready. And so let's take a look and we'll talk about it after.
John F. Kennedy was short-circuiting the New World Order. He had ordered the printing of constitutional money, United States notes, which would have destroyed the Federal Reserve, which is not an agency of the United States government. It's a private corporation owned and operated by the world bankers, controlled by the Illuminati. And its purpose was to destroy the middle class in this country and thus our economy. You see it unfolding now. You are seeing, and I predicted this well in advance, you are seeing the destruction of the economy of the United States. And it will continue. It will not get better. It's downhill from here on out. Unless we nationalize the Federal Reserve, lock up the criminals who own it, cancel the debt, which will then bankrupt the Illuminati, which is exactly what we ought to do, print constitutional money, which cannot be usurped, which cannot lead to our destruction, and go back to what we're supposed to do, and quit contracting for benefits We're escaping from the laws of nature, and there's a terrible consequence for that. You can't contract for somebody else to keep you alive. You have to be responsible within your life to keep yourself alive. And if you can't do it, then you have to die. That's the law of nature.
So good. Bill Cooper, what a life. So much that he did and accomplished. So in the very beginning, what grabbed my attention was, we've heard this, but I thought it was so good that even back then, this is like late 90s, maybe around 2000 that he did this interview, but I want to say it was like mid to late 90s. But he's saying, hey, right out the gate, he says JFK was short-circuiting the New World Order. In other words, with printing the money and all that, he wasn't going to have funny money anymore, and he was going to do the gold backed, and he was taking those steps. I think what he did though is underestimated just how committed the country was and how many people were in on it, as we know now. But I just thought that was so interesting. It grabbed my attention immediately when I saw that and thought this would be good. Look, we all need to be reminded. We all need to be reminded sometimes of these kinds of things. The Die Laughing says the Fed equals the great undoing of America and the world. Yes. And that's really what ultimately got Gaddafi killed. Gaddafi, for those of you that don't know, Gaddafi was actually loved greatly by his people. In fact, when you got married, you could get a gift of $50,000 from the government. Women got education. In fact, if you wanted to get a degree in a certain thing at a university and a certain topic or whatever degree, and they didn't have it, they would even help you to pay and go to another country to get what it was. You had even money every month for a car allowance. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff going on. The problem was he was trying to start his own currency. And guess what? You cannot control and usher in a new world order if you don't have control of the currency. And so he was doing this, and the New World Order, they got wind of it. And so, as we know, the whole thing with Hillary Clinton, where she said, whatever she said, whatever, and he died. We came, we saw, and he died, or something, and laughed while on television. That was about Gaddafi. And so they killed him. We came, we saw, and he died. Yep. And so no good at all. And so, but he was doing good, and he was well loved. The area, that he was over, that entire area was clean, was doing well. He could drive around. I saw video footage of him even standing up through the sunroof of a limo and waving at people, and everybody being excited to see him and all of that kind of stuff. And so, and he also, we know, at the UN was talking about how, this was decades ago. He talked about how, oh yeah, they'll make you sick and then they'll sell you the solution to whatever it is that, they've made you sick from. Well, we know what that means. And so it's just a very interesting situation. And all of it has to do, of course, going back to the New World Order and who has control. And we are now aware and awake to that. But I think that, it's just unfortunate that so many people tried to tell and were killed, as we know now. All right. So I wanted to let you know, of course, tomorrow is Wednesday. And of course, we do educational videos or documentaries. And I love this one. So this is really good. If y'all have not seen this is really a must see, by the way. Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. He's the one that actually saved Kathy O'Brien. She was a presidential model with the MK Ultra program and lived a horrific childhood and was trafficked to people that were leaders of the world, different countries, and of course to the president, many presidents and everything. And so when she got close to 30 years old, Mark Phillips actually ended up saving her. She was getting ready to be killed because that's what they do. But there is a recording where they speak, and it's called For Reasons of National Security. Ooh, I got to tell you, the part that sent chills up my spine when I saw this the very first time, which was like 5-6 years ago, even though this video is decades old, I got to tell you, chills is when she talked about Reagan, and she's like, well, and he was an actor. And so, you're like, but he was so good. He seems so, yeah. And he was an actor. And so it's just, it's a lot to take in. So Grolden says, heartbreaking. Can't believe this is happening in America. And to think of all the billions going to illegal aliens. Preach, Grolden, preach. It's insanity. It's just insanity. And so that's why I love so much about what we're doing here at the Michelle Moore Show, whether it's with North Carolina. We also have other outreach that we do as well. And so that we don't even necessarily talk much about here. There's so much we do. And a lot of that is not just producer Ron and myself, but many viewers as well that help. And so we just want to say thank you. We are planning our 7th trip to North Carolina, by the way. Just want to know it. I got to sneeze. And so, excuse me, I could feel it coming. And so we're excited about that. Don't have a date yet, but it is coming. So if you are wanting to send in a donation, a lot of you will say, I want to send a donation. Is it too late? It's not too late. I think it's going to be at least 2 more weeks before we go again. So you've got plenty of time to be able to send in your donation. If you're not sure, so we do PayPal, Venmo, and then also you can do snail mail. And so if you need our mailing address, you can always go to our Rumble channel. So the Michelle Moore Show Rumble channel, and look in the show description or on Truth Talk America's show description, and either one of those, and you will see the mailing address. You got to make the check out to Michelle Moore. And so that way I can take care of all that as well. But we do honor, you got to put that you want it for North Carolina, or some of you will say just whatever the need is. We've helped numerous people, and a lot of times we don't necessarily talk about it on the show. And so, but we do help some people that, things come up and are in need. And so just let us know, because we absolutely honor where you want the money to go. Whether some people will say just however you see fit, and then some will say specifically North Carolina. So we look and check for that specifically to make sure that everything goes the way you want it to go. Okay, so have you heard of Arizona Wilder? It's my understanding she's no longer with us, but she did an interview that was quite intriguing, very interesting. Of course, this was back before most people were awake, and especially right now is what we've got where people are more aware. But this is back from 1999, and she did a sit-down interview with David Icke. And so she was an ex-Illuminati insider. I don't think that she was necessarily a member voluntarily, but she was an insider and she had information. And of course, back then it was like, what in the world is she talking about? But take a listen to a clip of this interview. We will be soon, we're going to be airing this in its entirety. I don't know if it'll be this weekend. I've got to talk with producer Ron and we'll let you know. But this is another one of those that is just a must hear. So her name is Arizona Wilder with David Icke back in 1999. Take a listen to this.
Can we talk about some of the famous names that people around the world would know who, in your experience, have taken part in these rituals that you've conducted? You say you've conducted them in Europe and the United States. Can we start with the United States?
Yes. I have seen at rituals, I have seen George Bush. I have seen Madeleine Albright. I have seen Henry Kissinger. I have seen Ronald Reagan. Also, by the way, seen his wife, Nancy Reagan. I have seen Hillary Clinton before I knew she was Hillary Clinton at the time. At these rituals, she is involved. The other people that I have named, and I have seen shapeshift into reptilians. I have not seen Hillary Clinton actually shapeshift, but she is involved. I have seen the 2 sons when they were young, the 2 sons of George Bush present at these rituals.
Are these the sons that have become governors?
Yes. One is in Florida and one is in Texas. I have seen, did I mention Jay Rockefeller? And he shapeshifts. I've seen George Deukmejian and Ronald Reagan again, having been governor in California. There have been people such as Newt Gingrich I saw, and I didn't know at the time that he was Newt Gingrich. I recognized that he was Newt Gingrich when Clinton came into power, and after he was, Newt Gingrich was then elected Speaker of the House. And I was horrified to realize that this man was also there. All of this has affected me to the point I don't vote. All of these people seem to all be connected to the Illuminati, and I don't feel like being part of having anything to do with them.
Presidents like Carter and Ford and Clinton.
I've seen Ford there.
Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford, yes.
Are they all reptilian bloodlines?
I haven't seen Carter shapeshift.
You've seen him at rituals, have you?
Yes. Gerald Ford, I have seen Shapeshift. And Johnson also.
Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson.
Wow. All right. So tomorrow we have that really it's like a talk. I think they're at some kind of an event. It's Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. And so we'll be seeing that. And then we'll be back on Thursday and Friday. Don't forget, we got Gary Humble on Friday. I'm in talks with a really good interview. I'm hoping it might happen Thursday. So we'll see about timing. A little too soon to tell you what's going on. So we'll see about that as well. I'm excited. We got so many good things going on, so much great stuff. And thank you so much for donating to the North Carolina stuff and helping us to feed people with that and just all the different things. And make sure that you are taking care of yourself, whether it's getting the right products to do your teeth and the oil pulling like we talked about, just whatever it takes is about getting healthy and staying out of the cabal system. All right, we'll see you right here next time on the Michelle Moore Show.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful here, and I'm here with my gold guy, Dr. Mike Fulges, a silver and gold expert. Hey, Mike, what do we have here?
Today I have a few, actually 50, 2025 $5 gold American Eagles. Each is a 10th ounce of gold and is a starter coin for investors.
So this is a way people can invest. They can buy a whole bunch of coins and just hold on to them, right?
Correct. They have these in 10th ounce, quarter ounce, half ounce, and 1 ounce sizes.
Now, if they want to buy them now, wait a couple of years and sell them again so they have liquidity, can they do that with you?
Immediately. We buy millions every month back from clients.
So you really are the gold guy.
That's why we're America's gold expert.
Trying to get healthier is full of can'ts.
Come on, Grandma, come play. Come play with us, Grandma.
I can't move. So you go to the doctor.
Your body can't figure this out. So take this, and this.
Because your body can't. But is it true your body can't? Maybe your body can. All you need is a little support. Wave Watch is a wearable device that uses sound wave therapy to help your body heal itself. Studies are showing that all cells in our bodies resonate at unique frequencies, and specific sounds can stimulate them. Your body can deal with pain, so you can play hard.
WaveWatch comes with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty for defects and flaws, and you can upgrade to an additional warranty for water damage and breakage. Go to wavewatch.com. Be sure to use the discount code Michelle100 at checkout to receive $100 savings on your purchase. Did you know your cell phone emits radiation that has been linked to increased risk of certain types of cancers? This is why manufacturers include hidden warnings to keep your phone away from your body. And what's worse is that children are more susceptible to the potentially damaging effects. Safe Sleep for cell phones is a case specifically designed to block radiation. Its shielding technology integrated into the case has been tested in a third-party FCC-accredited lab to block over 99% of RF and 92% of ELF radiation emitted by your phone. It also functions as a stand for watching videos and comes in a magnetically detachable style for some devices. Safe Sleeve also offers anti-radiation cases for tablets and laptops and has free shipping in the U.S. plus discounted worldwide shipping is available. Go to truthtalkamerica.com today and click on the Safe Sleep banner on the home page. Use the discount code FIRST10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Toxic chemicals are everywhere, even in products we've used for generations. Now there's a replacement solution. Godly Granny. Godly Granny products are nutraceutical, clean products with purpose. All our products like skin creams, bath bombs, lip scrubs, deodorants, and more are free of the Godly Granny 5 Dirty Dozen list. That's 60 harmful chemicals many other companies use that you'll never find in our products. Go to godlygranny.com today. Be sure and use the discount code Michelle10 at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
For Michelle's social media links, go to MichelleMooreShow.com.